The Ray 2600 is the newest light from Magicshine. You know, they did send this light over for me to review, and Magicshine has some really good value for money, and you know, that continues with this light. And like the name suggests, this is a 2600 lumen light named after a guy that everybody loves. Jokes aside, this is a light that does a phenomenal job lighting up both the front of you and down the trail. And you know, that is thanks to its dual hybrid light setup that has one light as a flood and the other as a spot. With the spot, it's capable of sending light 183 meters down the trail, and all of this is enclosed in a single aluminum housing that is IPX6 rated. And with that rating, you will have no issues riding with this light in any weather. And even with the aluminum housing, the light comes in only at 190 grams. Now, speaking of that aluminum housing, when running at full power, this thing gets hot. So keep that in mind if you go to handle it after a long ride in hotter weather. And at the full 2600 lumens, you can run the light for a full hour and a half. And if you really want to stretch the battery, you can run it in single beam mode on low and get 22 and a half hours. You know, that is incredible. This light might actually be ideal for bike packers thanks to its great battery life and low weight. With all that extra battery, you can actually use the light as a power bank to charge up your phone or other devices. And I think that is mainly thanks to Magicshine putting in a proper USB port on this light. That's right, Magicshine put in a USB-C port. Thank you for listening and putting in a proper port on this light, Magicshine. The light lasted my entire ride and more, and it doesn't even show in the red yet. So the light has multiple modes that it can switch between, and like I mentioned before, the light can switch between spot, flood, and the hybrid lighting modes. There are 4 different brightness levels and a flashing mode, and this is where things get a bit interesting. The light does have 2 main modes. There is a normal mode, and then there is also a smart mode that utilizes a light sensor. The smart mode will be locked at 50 lumens for daylight use, but when it gets dark, the light will automatically activate full output. And this is pretty cool. Thanks to a vibration sensor built into the light, it'll automatically turn off after 3 minutes, and any sort of movement or vibration will turn the light back on. Oh, you know, I almost forgot. There is a lock function that prevents this light from accidentally turning on. And I will admit, I had to look up the directions multiple times to figure out how to operate this light. You know, it's not necessarily that difficult to use, but there is definitely a learning curve. Funny enough, this is the first time I've had a light come with one of these. This is a wired remote that mimics the onboard buttons of the light. This is pretty cool little added touch. You know, the light also includes their standard handlebar mount, which is quite conveniently a Garmin mount. You can adjust the mount with different size attachments so that it fits more bars. Personally, I totally recommend the optional out front mount that allows you to attach both a Garmin and a light. Now, because this is a Garmin style mount, you're going to need to pick up an optional helmet mount if you plan on running this on your helmet. And did I mention this light only retails for about $145? Like I said, good value for money. Go check it out.